What is up, Nerds Nation? Welcome to the Effin' Nerds podcast with the most dynamic duo in all of podcasting. I'm Nick Nizio, and sitting across from me is my dude, Martin Moreno.
Who is wearing, I think, jeans for the first time.
For the first time on the pod?
On the podcast history.
Solid, man.
Yeah, jeans in my Her Universe sweatshirt. Do you know about Her Universe by any chance?
No, what is that?
Do you know Ashley Eckstein? She's a girl who voices Ahsoka in Rebels and Clone Wars. Before I said this, I probably should have looked it up. I think this might be her company.
Really?
May or may not be. I could be that wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, if we have to, we'll correct it in the video.
Yeah.
We'll put a yes or no.
But I guess that was my cheap shot at trying to get sponsored. I guess I just blew it.
There you go, man.
I just blew it.
You blew it!
But I got this a celebration last year at the Her Universe panel. And very comfy sweatshirts. Got all the Star Wars princesses.
Solid.
Yeah, but definitely go check it out. And sponsors.
All right, guys, we are recapping The Mandalorian, Chapter 10, The Passenger. But before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, please check back each week as we try to upload new content for you guys to listen to. Chapter 10, The Passenger, picks up where we left off, finding Mando and Baby Yoda as they are getting ready to leave Tatooine in search of more Mandalorians. But first, Mando gets tasked with ferrying a passenger with precious cargo on a risky journey.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I guess we'll kick things off with the cold opening. As
we like to put it.
And we got Mando and Baby Yoda on the speeder bike with Boba Fett's armor in hand as they are going across the desert of Tatooine. And
pretty much picking up right where we left off.
Exactly where we left off. Right. And we got some troublemakers getting ready to try to ambush Mando and steal Baby Yoda, which I like that there's still people going after Baby Yoda. No,
that's the thing. They're not, though. Because if they were, they would have just taken Baby Yoda. And that's how I saw it.
But I thought they said get the child.
I think so, but I think that whole notion kind of went out the door. Because then if he really wanted to, he would have taken the child, but instead he kind of gambles and he takes the jetpack instead. So how I saw it was, like you said, I still think, like, since this is we're not in Coruscant. This isn't like the big shiny city. We're in like fucking Tatooine,
right? Where
it's rough. We have to get like shit from Jawa, from like a Jawa garage sale. And how I saw it was like these sort of like sand pirates.
Okay.
You know, like these like pirates in like the open sort of desert. Gotta like do what you gotta do to survive, to get by. So they gotta, like ambush this person, steal their shit, sell it, you know. That's just kind of like the lifestyle that currently is on Tatooine. But that's kind of how I saw it.
Interesting.
I do know that they said get the child, but like I
kind of looked at it by that point. The little guy that had him was like, well, I'm fucked if I don't make a bargain and get out of this. So
that's a good point too. But that's kind of how I saw it, because we do make a mention of how Mando is kind of careless with Baby Yoda.
Oh, he's very careless.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you think of episode 1, or season 2, episode 1, chapter 9, so to speak.
Yeah.
When he gets ambushed in the beginning, they're all after the Beskar. No one cares about Baby Yoda.
Right.
So I think this whole notion of like Baby Yoda and how powerful he is and how he, quote unquote, is still like the most powerful species, I still think that goes over a lot of people's heads.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
And that gives Mando, in a way, the advantage of how he can just kind of just not be so kind of
like protective of.
Right, because either A, they really don't know much about him, or they don't care, and B, if they do, then he can defend himself.
Right.
So that's kind of how I see it.
All right, that's an interesting take. That's an interesting take. But regardless of that, we do get another fantastic action sequence with Mando taking out these guys, and I just love the combat. The combat just in these episodes are so well done, so well choreographed.
Right. This was more in line with like the opening combat sequence from episode 2.
Yeah.
That's what kind of reminded me a little bit of.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was good. Yeah, very cool. I love, Mando's fighting style, how he uses the Beskar to defend himself, how he kind of does like a Spider-Man thwip with his thing and wheels in the gun.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was fun to see.
And with this being Peyton Reed's episode, and obviously he comes from a more comedy background, there's a lot of comedic moments throughout this episode, and our first one comes with kind of like the jetpack, where the little guy's running off with it, and Mando just shoots him up in the air, and I love how Baby Yoda just gives him like the look after the guy comes down. It's hysterical. Really?
But before that, something that we'll get into, I love how Baby Yoda runs to him.
Yes.
Because he's like a little scaler. He's like,
he's like, Dad, pick me up.
Yeah, he like picks him up, and he's like, are you okay?
Yeah.
I think that also goes to show just kind of how, because we were sold very early on of how he said like a child traveling with me, like that's not good.
Yes.
But now we're more and more seeing this sort of evolution of Mando taking on this father figure role, and they both really kind of caring for each other.
Right.
So the way how you see like Baby Yoda kind of like, if I knew my dad, that's how I probably would run to him too.
Just with your arms.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after Mando kind of dispatches those guys, he then heads back to, I guess, what's that town called where like the cantina is and everything? Mos Eisley. So he heads back there. He finds what's her name? Amy Sedaris. I forget her.
Peli Motto?
Yeah, Peli Motto.
Yeah.
And she's playing cards with Dr. Mandible.
Yeah, who's a giant ant.
Yes, who's a giant ant, which is a nice little
Very on the
callback.
nose,
Yeah,
right.
very on the nose.
Well, there it is.
There it is. And yeah, so she kind of gives him a lead on where like more Mandalorians are, but first she kind of tasks him with taking care of this frog lady and ferrying her to a
well, for starters, they were playing
planet.
Sabacc.
Yes.
Which was really fun to see.
Right.
And the whole Idiot's Array, something else that we'll get into also with the Krykna, the spiders.
Yes.
But the whole Idiot's Array, that's from Rebels.
Okay.
So last season we got the Lost Cat. Now we're kind of getting the because Lando plays Sabacc in one of the episodes with Zeb. He's like the creature in like one of the main characters in Rebels.
Oh, okay.
And he beats him with that hand, the Idiot's Array. The Idiot's Array is like that's like the only hand. That's like the hand.
Is that like the equivalent of like a royal flush in poker?
Pretty much,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because like the way Sabacc is played, like you want to. Do I really want to get nerdy right now?
Fuck it, get nerdy. Why
Oh my
not?
gosh.
Get sweaty, bro.
Such a fucking loser. All right, well the way it works is like you want to get closest to like 23 or like minus 23.
Okay.
You know, that's like if you go over, like if you get like 24, then you're essentially done.
Right, you're
you know?
done. Yeah.
Yes, and the way the and like the perfect hands, like if you get like 223, but the Idiot's Array is essentially 2, 3, and the face card called the Idiot.
Gotcha.
And that like beats all. So when she said it, I'm like, oh, that was like a nice callback
Yeah.
to like because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was first introduced in Rebels with Lando when he played Zeb.
Gotcha.
But that and then like you said, Dr. Mandible like being the giant ant. That was like I really loved the first had some issues later on. But I really loved like the first kind of 10 minutes. And the frog lady when she came out, like melted my heart.
Yeah.
For some reason I was just like, look at this look. And fun fact, that was Misty.
Well, actually, I was gonna get into that.
Go ahead.
So the frog lady was played by Misty Rosas, who did all the performance work for Quill back in season 1.
I have spoken.
And yeah, it's really cool to see her come back and play this character too. And I think she does a really fantastic job with the frog lady. It's really a great character, and I feel like it's a character that could have fallen into Jar Jar territory if it wasn't done right. You know what I mean? But it was done very right.
It was, and like I said, there's something very it's kind of very heartwarming when she came out. It's kind of like older lady.
Yes.
Got her eggs. Like she wants to she wants to go home. And I think that's in a way, and this could totally just be me being an immigrant, kind of really looking into it, but the whole notion of like immigrating or like going to a new world to start a new life.
Well, I was also thinking, I had the feeling of almost like a refugee kind of thing.
Yes,
yeah,
or
like I had like that feeling.
Some like
with her.
Anne Frank shit, or some like Schindler's List, like kind of taking these like people and like keeping them safe. Because even again, the more episodes we get, the more we're kind of seeing how like you do not fuck with Mando,
right? Like
Mando's a badass, like you do not fuck with him, but he's also has like a really good heart.
He has a really good heart.
And he's very honorable.
Yes.
So I think just like which again, Peli, like her comedy, and these first 2 episodes have been so good.
She's great.
I love her character. I love how her comedic humor element that she brings to it.
I would say the thing that's cool about her is she's kind of becoming Mando's like point of contact whenever he goes to Tatooine. Right. So it's like whenever he goes to Tatooine, he goes to see her first, and then he gets any kind of information from her, and then goes on. Yeah. So I like that she's kind of becoming almost like a regular of the series.
Right. But that's kind of like what kind of first came to mind. It's just like just this innocent woman there with her kids. She wants to go to like a new world, better life, meet up with her husband. So that was really great to see. And something I actually didn't get a chance to look up her species. I don't really know what it is, but it also reminded me of the caretakers from Octu from The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like because they also have almost like a frog lady physiology to them, which is still one of I didn't like The Last Jedi, but I still think it has one of the funniest moments when Rey is training and she cuts the rock and the rock falls and like takes out their like carriage. And they're just like, this fucking bitch. Like, you don't even go here.
Right.
Like, go home. Here. Yeah. Just messing up my life.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, that's kind of like, those are, when I first saw it, I was like, that instant feel of just like, aw.
Yeah.
And then like, like you said, I think it's a good way of putting it, like a refugee.
Yeah.
And
She's
then
just looking to get back to her husband and
Right.
just a safe place for her kids.
Right, and then and then again, how he just kind of remind. I want to look up her species, but how it also reminded me a little bit of the kind of like maybe not intentional, but sort of like connection to
Last
to
Jedi a little
the
bit.
sequels. Even though I don't want any connection to the sequels,
right.
It
But
kind of
still.
reminded me.
It was also cool to see the crate dragon meat getting cooked.
Oh, that's right. I love how
Yeah.
she's like, I want it medium rare.
Hey, don't overcook it, Treadwell. I like it medium rare. I'm not some Rhodian for crying out loud.
Palimoto is low key becoming
so good.
becoming a great character. Yeah.
So Mando does agree to take the frog lady to where she wants to go. I forget what planet they said they're going to, but as they are going, he can't use hyperdrive because if he does, it's going to fuck up the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's going, he well, I guess before we get to the next big action piece in the episode, we first get our first bit of Baby Yoda, and eating the.
I love the one
little
shot
eggs.
when he's up against the. Like, I don't know what that container was called, but when he's like up against it and
Yes,
you see
he's looking at it. And the other thing too that was really cool was we kind of get a little bit of a theme for Baby Yoda.
of how he loves frogs.
No, like a
Oh.
musical theme.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It almost had like a very magical, like twinkle kind of sound to it. Yeah,
It sounded a little bit like race theme. Actually.
it was very like childlike and
Yeah,
it was really cool that he. That's like, oh, maybe this is like his theme.
You know, like
now.
race themes, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Like that. Actually, now that you mention it, that kind of yeah, like a twinkle, magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, he fucking loves frogs.
He loves frogs.
And you think about like episode 2,
Yep,
when
yep.
they first go back to Quill, he's eating a frog. On episode 4, the Sanctuary, he's eating the frog again.
Yes.
And all the kids are like, ew.
Yeah.
So the second she came out with the eggs, I'm like, oh my god,
I know.
he's gonna fucking
Yep.
eat these eggs.
Yep.
And yeah, we got a lot of cute baby Yoda moments.
He's a little shit in this episode.
I loved it though.
I know.
I
This is great.
loved it.
This is kind of the first episode where we really see him like acting out and like kind of being like
anybody
a little toddler.
Anybody who has kids or nieces or nephews knows about the terrible twos.
Yes.
And how they get a little like they become little shitheads, like you put it. And seeing him being this little troublemaker and just being like a little shithead was fun to see.
Yeah,
I like
it
how
was
they
really
gave him a
fun
little
to
bit
see.
of personality.
Yeah, definitely. But so we get that, and then as they're kind of on their journey, they get intercepted by 2 X-wing pilots,
Which was awesome.
We get Dave Filoni coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Who returns from I guess that was chapter 6. Actually, this episode has a lot of ties to chapter 6,
Yes.
which we will get into. And then the other one was played by Paul Sun-Hung Lee. So you get these two, and they kind of intercept
What
him.
was their names? Because I think
The pilots' names?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Can we do a few moments later?
Yeah, definitely.
A few moments later.
All right, and we're back. So Dave Filoni's official X-Wing pilot name is Trapper Wolf, and Paul Sun-Hung Lee is Captain Carson Teva.
Right. That's what I wanted to go back to, because clearly for all the Rebels fans out there, Filoni loves the wolves from Lothal.
Yes.
The Lothal wolves play a big part in the Rebel series. So, and he loves wolves. Like he's got the wolf T-shirt.
Yep,
He's like all about it. So that was like, I think a lot of people are going to like catch that and be like, oh, like
Yeah, it's a
I
nice little
understood that.
nod. Yeah,
I understood that
Yeah,
reference.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great seeing the X-Wings come out. But right before that too, I loved like the kind of something that we got in this. I think had they made this episode a little bit more relatable in terms of like a human aspect.
Mhm.
Like I said, like now we got they mentioned, which we'll get into, but like the privy,
Yes.
which the only time I've ever heard that was Game
Yes,
of
that's
Thrones.
right. Yeah,
the
yeah,
bathroom.
yeah. Right.
You're gonna kill me while I'm on the privy.
Yeah.
But we saw like Mando like sleeping
Mm-hmm.
with like Baby Yoda, which
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen before. But like seeing their kind of like quarters, quote unquote. But how this is where the episode started to lose me. I wasn't a big fan of the dialogue between Mando and the two pilots.
Mhm.
You know, like of how they're like talking and Mando's trying to like play it off.
Yeah.
And then like the whole, I love the chase scene.
Yeah, no,
I-
you get a fantastic chase
Chasing
scene.
was awesome. The special effects were incredible,
Yep.
but I wasn't a big fan of that. But what I do like, which is something that we're going to harness back to again, is that we got to keep in mind that this is post Return of the Jedi.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the New Republic.
Right.
And these are just like these pilots who aren't just coming in shooting up. Like they're giving people the opportunity to like explain themselves.
Right.
So like, where are you from? Can you pass your information over? Like, and then when they're chasing them, they're like, we'll shoot you if we have to. Like, we don't want to,
Right.
but we will. So I think that kind of harnesses back to the whole notion of like a new hope of how now. Of how it's different times, and they even make a mention of that, how like it's the times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that I guess just me personally looking into it a little bit too much, that I like that whole aspect of how it's like more like we're gonna give you a chance and then we're gonna go from there.
Right.
But yeah, then the chase sequence is cool, and then we get the ice planet, and yeah.
So obviously we get that really cool chase, and then Mando crash lands on this ice planet, and we get a lot of, I mean, like for me, like for as much of a sort of a throwaway episode as a lot of people are looking at it, I really like a lot of moments when they get to this ice planet. First of all, Star Wars in the snow is just really cool.
Yeah.
And there's also like, did Baby Yoda starts talking? Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Like when so obviously they crash land, right? And I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. So when they crash land, first of all, the first callback to Chapter 6 was it's really cool when the Frog Lady repurposes Zero,
right? Who
is returning voice Richard Ayoade, I think his name is.
I'm not sure who that is.
Well, he's the best part in the Watch.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the British guy in the Watch.
Cool.
So he returns back to do the voice, and I like how they kind of repurpose him so that she can actually talk to Mando and translate how she's speaking.
And she calls him out, which again.
Oh, dude, she calls him out hard.
I thought honoring one's word was a part of the Mandalorian code. I guess those are just stories for children.
He's like, all right.
Yes.
Got me.
So he goes to fix the ship, and that's when Baby Yoda kind of comes over, and he starts like gibbering to him. And like if you listen, like you can hear him, like he's actually like trying to talk to him and saying like, "Hey man, like come look at this shit."
And I love how he's like, "Why don't you come over and help?" Like again, like another kind of like dad moment, like your dad working on the grill.
Make yourself useful. Come help me.
Exactly. Like.
How about you come over here, give me a hand, make yourself useful.
Just real quick, when they're going to sleep, and how Baby Yoda rolls up on him.
Yes,
I was like, oh my god.
I know,
like,
man.
Their bond is growing. Yeah, it's really cool to see. But yeah, I didn't notice that. Now that you mention it, it does kind of stick out.
Yeah,
but I didn't notice it initially.
So moving on from that, he follows Baby Yoda and he sees footprints in the snow. So he goes into sort of like his predator vision and sees what's going on. And
That's a good way of putting it.
It's predator vision,
Predator
man.
vision.
And he follows the tracks and he finds the Frog Lady kind of bathing in like this hot spring.
Which is a little weird.
With all of her eggs kind of also out in the hot spring, which is a little strange. He's basically like, come on, we gotta get we can't stay here. We gotta get out of here. It's gonna be night soon. And that's when he sort of starts fishing the eggs back in. And it's another moment where he gets to yell at Baby Yoda saying, "Do not touch those. Get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
And and trust me, he gets the hell out of there, and he goes and he finds this like egg, and I love it feels like an immediate callback to Alien.
100%.
Right.
Well, at first I wasn't sure if it, because we spoke about this before when we saw the marketing.
Yes.
Of how we thought it might be Loom.
Right.
The planet.
And it's obvious it's not.
It's not. And to be honest, I was a little upset about that.
Maybe it's us getting a little ahead of ourselves there.
Yeah.
On that one.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, look, we don't know how things are going to play out, but it could potentially been like a missed opportunity.
Yes.
Because if you think about Loom, how that's where like the young Jedis go to do their rite of passage, get their kyber crystals, and in a way it's kind of like a spiritual planet.
Yes.
So I think if Mando's out here looking for the Jedi, I think he could have potentially learned a thing or two from that planet.
Right.
And not just that, but Baby Yoda being force sensitive, he could have naturally been drawn towards some things.
Right.
So at first, that's kind of what I thought. I thought he was being drawn to like the kyber crystals, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Loom.
Yeah.
But it did look a little weird.
Yeah.
But so then once he starts, obviously it's not, and like you said, very alien.
Very alien, like, and he digs right into that egg.
And I said that, and he starts again just fucking eating everything.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna eat this.
Yeah. But that was again another sort of callback to Rebels, because those spiders, they're called I don't know how they're the Krikna. Those are in Rebels a lot.
Yes,
like these like big giant white spiders.
Well, originally, apparently that design was supposed to appear in Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Yeah, which is
my
really
god, you're
cool.
100% right. Yes. What's Ralph McQuarrie?
Yes.
Ralph McQuarrie designed them,
he did
right?
the design. So I remember seeing concept art they were showing after this episode dropped, and you see Luke standing there with like the giant fucking spider laying its eggs, and I was like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right. That's a good. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that. Yes, but yeah, it was cool to see them, and again, very much like I said, the Loth Cat in episode 4, the whole Idiot Saray, now this, like we're just constantly having these tie-ins to Rebels, which something I'll quickly get into in a little bit, which could be a good thing and a bad thing, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll kind of bounce it back to you so we can.
Gotcha. Well, so once we, Mando kind of sees what Baby Yoda's doing, which is another like cutest fucking moment ever when he hears him scream and he's just running back to him and he sees all these spiders coming at him.
He's like, fuck.
He's like, fuck this.
That's like when that's like when because this reminds me of my younger brother, because Mauricio was such a little shithead growing up, I swear to God. But that reminds me of like when you're like out at like the store, and then like your like I guess like your niece, nephew, or kid, or whatever, like they do something bad, and then you just hear the mayhem, you just see them running, you're like, oh, what the fuck did you do?
Right.
Yeah, but that's kind of again like the sort of humanistic aspect.
Exactly. So as he picks up Baby Yoda and sees these spiders, and then just as he looks around, all the eggs start hatching, and then more spiders start coming over this little mound, and then the big one comes through, and it's just like, oh, get the fuck out of there. So they're, then this awesome chase scene happens, and one of the things I noticed was it's cool to see the frog lady actually move like a frog.
I love that moment.
Yeah, that was great.
She kind of flips into like her I guess natural mode.
Yes.
And she starts hopping around. I was like, oh shit! Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I loved how they kind of incorporated that into it.
Yes, it's so good. And the one thing for this episode, it's very well shot, and this is one of those moments that's really well shot when Mando's running through the caves trying to get away from these spiders, and then when he gets back onto his ship and they're all swarming him and he's just trying to evade them, he's using all of his different weapons disposable. Some cool moments with the flamethrower, and
yeah, it went very horror.
Yes,
it went very horror, and that was awesome. That was fun to see.
Yeah.
And we got probably my favorite moment from the episode, which just fucking cracked me up. But when she whips out the blaster.
Oh, it's like her like pocket pistol.
Yeah, and she's just there with her fucking blaster, and it just killed. I'm like, I saw. I'm like, this is gonna get memed,
dude. It's like something like an old lady whips out of her purse. You know what I mean? Like it's a little tiny pit.
I just pictured hysterical. In my head, I was like, say what again? Yeah, I fucking dare you. Say what again with the fucking little like her little blaster. But yeah, I love this horror element that we got from it. I love I cannot stress this enough. I don't know what cameras they're using for this show, but like the picture quality is like unreal.
It's crisp.
It's so fucking crisp. It's so clean. It's like super duper HD.
Oh,
and I fucking love it. Like we said, the effects were amazing. I really like the visual effects for this one. I think there were certain moments in episode 1, especially when they're on the speeders, when like the compositing's a little weird.
It's a little off. Yeah.
But for this one, I thought the effects all around were really, really good.
Yeah, and like I think one of the best oh shit moments in the episode, and I think just in the series in general, is when he's trying to take off, and the big guy just comes back down top. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and right before that, when we see the spiders going on the windshield, and we see like their I guess footprints of how they kind of like scratch it, like that was a really cool moment. And then the mouth on the windshield, which is like such an iconic kind of like monster moment. You think of like back to Jurassic Park, back to Alien,
right?
That's just like they were really touching up on certain things, and that was cool to see. And then obviously, in come
the X-Wings to come save the guys. Well, then we get like probably my favorite shot is when the X-Wings are kind of taking out all the spiders. As Mando's walking back down through his ship before he gets outside to see that it's them, is he's walking through the hull of his ship and it's all covered in webs and everything.
Yeah,
and it's such an awesome shot to see.
That's something too. I think the episode was very quiet in regards that like it took out a lot of the music, and I think it was for that reason they were trying to build that sort of like eerie, creepy, like isolated tone. Because like when he's helping her put the eggs away, like there's like no music, it's very quiet, and I think they were really trying to build that up.
Yeah.
And again, when he's walking through all you hear is like the blasters.
Yes.
So you just know like,
and you hear like the little ticking of the spider legs
to kind of build a scene, build the environment of like what's going on through his mind, and yeah, we get just as good as the CG was. The practical effects were just as good.
Oh, by far, yeah.
I think we didn't really talk about like the frog lady practicality was really cool.
Yeah, very well done.
Dr. Mandible was very cheap but very in line with like the Star Wars spirit.
Yes, very much.
And then those X-Wings, those were legit X-Wings.
Yeah.
And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool, man.
Like, I want to get in this fucking X-Wing. But yeah, and then we get, again, this really, I didn't like their dialogue again. Of like their cheese dialogue of like they mentioned again, to go back to episode 6.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Davin.
This is where they kind of really tie in with episode 6.
Right, because it's like you helped out Lieutenant Davin, which was the buckethead from episode 6, the guy who was in like the control room, and then and again this sort of sense of like it's a new era, this new republic who are like you're wanted for arrest, but You've done good things, so we're gonna let you go. Just that was a little cheesy, but I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
And then the music too, when they flew
When
away,
they kind of take off.
yeah, it was like some like weird upbeat pop music.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, but that kind of threw me off a little bit too. And then obviously he fixes everything real quick, like out of nowhere.
Right.
Just magically quick.
At least they showed him working on it though. It's not.
True.
You didn't get like a wipe and then like he's just flying away. You know?
Which in their defense, they've already done that before.
Yes.
Like if you think of like episode 2 when he fixes it with Quill very quickly.
Right.
So there is basis for that of like them doing that, but then they fly away and yeah, go ahead and I'm going to get into my issues.
Okay.
Like real quickly,
All
and
right.
I'm not going to harness on it too much.
Well, I mean, from there, the episode kind of ends. He flies off, and that's kind of it.
Right.
You know, until we get to the next one. So I guess, you know, for like my thoughts just on the episode in general, it's very much a throwaway episode for sure. But I think it gives you some very nice character moments, gives you more character building between Mando and Baby Yoda, introduces a pretty cool character in the Frog Lady, and some of the things that I, you know, because I've been reading a lot about what people are saying, and you know, obviously this
I
doesn't.
actually wanted to ask you that because I know I haven't read anything.
Yeah.
I know you're the one who loves reading, so what are people saying?
I think most people think it's fine. It's whatever. You know what I mean? There's some people that gave it like, you know, a negative review because it doesn't move the actual story forward. This feels like a side quest, which is basically what it is. And you know, other people think that it's just another part in building, you know, the Mandalorian story. You know, like I do like how it has specific ties to Chapter 6, and that there are consequences to some of the actions that happen in Season 1 that are kind of coming back to Season 2 with
both in a good way and
both in a good way and a bad way. You know,
Right.
that there are consequences to what Mando does with Baby Yoda. So I do like that. And the other thing too is I think I see people saying, you know, when are we going to see Baby Yoda use his powers again?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
So one of like my thoughts on that, right? So here's what I think is if I can make a bold prediction. I feel like they're not going to show Baby Yoda's powers until a very crucial moment, and you're going to see how much he's evolved with his force ability.
I like that.
So I feel like that's what's going to happen. Now, would I be surprised if in next episode he uses it to move some shit? No, I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like that they might be building, since it's 2 episodes and we haven't seen it yet. And there's been moments where he could have used it.
Exactly.
With the spiders here, maybe there's a few moments in season 1 or chapter 9 where he could have used it.
With the crate dragon.
With the crate dragon. So it's just like there's different things where there's moments where it's like, oh, he's going to do it, and he doesn't do anything. So I feel like they're holding on to it for a very specific moment.
I'm actually happy they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Because then it focuses on Mando figuring out the situation, and then
Right.
it puts the emphasis on the other characters. Because if he did use it when like the spider's on his head,
Yeah.
then you lose the moment with the frog lady and her blaster.
Yes.
So it's like don't rely so much. Like Baby Yoda is like your get out of jail free card. Like
Absolutely.
no matter what situation you're in, he can just essentially get you out.
Mm-hmm.
So then rather than leaning on that, lean in on all the cuteness.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
all about the cuteness.
Yeah.
But rather than leaning in on like and kind of taking the easy way out, divert that attention towards the character to see how they can get themselves out of the situation.
Right.
So I'm glad they're not going too heavy onto that. My issue with this is kind of like you said. I thought the episode was fine. I watched it already 3 times. I've liked it less every time I've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some great moments, or like you said, some great character building moments. But it's that notion. We are 10 episodes in right now.
Mm-hmm.
As of now, we're a 50-50 split. We're 5 episodes were essentially throwaway filler episodes, and then 5 were like the actual main story. I do agree we're not really advancing the story forward, and I feel like starting season 2 now, we're essentially like, because last episode is also in its own right kind of like a filler episode because it didn't really advance the story forward.
Right.
So now we're 2 episodes in. We've got in a way 2 filler episodes, and they're starting to test me. They really are, because we're getting to the point where it's like I feel, just me personally, going into next episode could be in a way a double-edged sword, because either it's going to be great and advance the story forward, and something that we didn't mention, this episode was short, which pissed me off.
It was like 40 minutes, right?
Not even. It was like, in terms of actual story, it was like 35.
Gotcha.
So if, let's say hypothetically speaking, next episode is like 40 minutes and it's really good and really advances the story, then we can start playing we start looking in hindsight, like, could we have just taken this first 10 episodes to first 10 minute of this episode, which was really good,
Right.
and then combined it with the other episode when they finally get to Trask and she finally, and they move forward.
Right.
If that's the case, then I would probably want that. Again, we'll figure this out. We'll talk about this again once we watch the third episode. but I don't know if there's a mandate for how many episodes they have to have. But if we are going to, if we only have 6 episodes left, and we stick with this 50-50 notion, and we have 3 more filler and 3 more stories, or something along those lines, then I don't know. We'll see. As of right now, it's just like all hypotheticals.
Right.
I don't really know, but I'm starting to get I really want to start moving the story a little bit forward.
Yeah.
And something else that between this episode and the first episode, we've seen like 85% of the marketing.
Mm-hmm. Which is good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's good. So it gives me hope. It gives me a new hope.
Right.
That there's a lot of shit that they haven't shown us. There's a lot of stuff that we are going to see. So like, okay, I'm keeping my optimism there, you know, but kind of like I was saying of how I don't want this to become too much. I don't want this to become too much like Rebels, because Rebels does have a lot of like action adventure episodes and kind of throwaway episodes. But those seasons have like more than double the amount of this season. They have like 16 plus episodes. So
right.
And not everything translates well over different mediums, you know. So we'll see. But if next episode doesn't have any sort of story progression, I think I'm going to be a little pissed. Because I'm starting to get antsy. Like I want to move the story forward somehow. Yeah. You know, and that's just kind of how I see it. Because like the episode ended and I was like, okay, that was cool, that was fun, had some good moments. But like we're releasing it weekly. So come on, like let's get that excitement going, you know.
You know, and that's fine. I think you can be antsy if you want. And, you know, the I think the silver lining that I have in all of this is that, you know, yeah, it does suck that, you know, we're 2 episodes in and we haven't really gone anywhere. You know, I'm wondering where Moff Gideon is. I'm wondering when we're going to get back to Grief Karga and Cara Dune. But, you know, the way I see it is that it's very similar to last season where, you know, everything built up and it paid off immensely in the last 2 episodes of the season. And I think it's going to be very similar here to where we're introducing different characters. We're introducing different plot points where maybe later on it'll all tie in and it'll all make sense. So it's one of those things where it is what it is. You know, I think I'd be more pissed off if the episode wasn't good. I think it's a fine episode. I think everything is well done. I think the effects are well done. The action sequences are great. You know, Baby Yoda's cute as hell. You know what I mean? Like it's giving me things that I want to see. And the only criticism I have against it is that it's not moving the main plot forward. So I think we'll get there. You know, I think we're going to get there sooner rather than later. And yeah, I'm just kind of taking it as it comes along.
I think one of my biggest issues too is that I don't want this to become an anthology series. That's kind of why I don't want it to be too, where it's just like these separate stories.
Well, this kind of feels like we're on the quest. We're on Mando's quest to find Mandalorian and find Jedi. And then this is just like part of the quest.
Right, and like I said, I just wanted to kind of plant the seed because I want to tie back to it in the future. Yeah. Like in hindsight, like if we could, like I said, if we watch episode 3 and it would have been way much better if we just kind of got straight to the point. Yeah. And then rather than having these 40-minute 8 episodes, maybe 1 hour 6 episodes, you know, that probably in a way could maybe better. Who knows? We'll revisit it, go back once we kind of finish it all out and rediscuss this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll see where we get to, and hopefully chapter 11 gives us some
fingers crossed,
a little bit of push,
story development,
going forward
for sure.
All right, man. Anything else you want to say about the episode?
No. Overall, like I said, fine episode.
Yeah.
Looking forward to season 11 and looking forward to pushing that story.
Definitely. All right, Nerds Nation, that does it for us. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube page. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you can see that big, beautiful FN logo. Make sure you tune in next week where we give you our thoughts on chapter 11.
Oh yeah. Bye.